Word to the wise. When it's Maya Angelou, I believe, who said, when someone shows you who they are the first time, believe them. Girl, believe them. There's something that I learned while doing a course, an online course on project management. It was a Udemy course. Ironically, it was gifted to me by someone who wound up harming me. But I have separate boxes in my head after years of therapy and after learning to ask myself questions like fact or feeling, and after a lot of work on myself. A lot, like I have worked very hard to get to where I am as a nutritionist, as a health coach, as a student living and studying and sometimes working abroad. When the work comes, I'm very hard. Like if there's anything that I am, it is hardworking. Like when people write that in their cover letters and oh, why should you work for us? I am very hard. Me, I am hardworking. Me. So I work very hard. I am very good in a crisis. It's shocking how when irony, this post was not supposed to go this way, but let's stick with the positive, right? Eva, I know you're enjoying this. Mwah. Thank you for the inspiration. So I was going to go on here and complain about, oh, if someone shows you who they are the first time, believe them. But let's focus on this. How many good people do we have in our lives who show us that they are good, they're kind, they're consistent, they can be trusted with our vulnerability, with our secrets, with money, with our time? And we don't reward them. We don't reward the people in our lives who are willing to give everything, to give in and of themselves whole wholeheartedly, like the whole chest. This person is that doctor who they should be spending an average of 10 minutes with you, but they spend 30 minutes. They ask you questions about your home life, they ask you what other medication you're on, they ask to see the package, they how long have you been on this medication. Like, how many of you have met a nutritionist who is so good their doctor friend calls them and says, I don't think the nutritionist at my health facility will do my patient justice. Just come talk to them. That nutritionist doesn't even ask what the consultation fee is. That's me, by the way. Goes to hospital, talks to these patients. And you know what nutrition education is? When you explain a new concept to someone, and for me, I love challenging patients, children and old folks who barely have an education. So you explain something to them and then you ask them to repeat back what they've understood from everything you've said. When you hear those people articulate, not cramming, not word for word what you said, not verbatim, but using their own words. They explain fiber. Unajua, fiber is that mesh that holds the food that has been digested. In Swahili sounds so nice. After chakula imesagwa na tumbo, after the stomach has broken down food, and after you've chewed it in your mouth, there's this mesh. It's like a sackcloth. It holds all the sugar from the food that's been digested. That's what digestion is, breaking down, right? It's physical and mechanical. I mean, mechanical and chemical breakdown of food. Mechanical being like with the teeth breaking down the particles to smaller chunks, and then with the enzymes like amylase, breaking down saliva, breaking down your sugars. So you're there explaining. This becomes from complex sugar to simple sugar to simple sugar, like to disaccharide to monosaccharide. When so you're using all that biology knowledge that you have, and then you break it down into bite size. And like a little birdie, you feed this information to your patient and you tell them, regurgitate. Okay, in a sexy way, not like not puke, but like say back to me what you think I just told you. And you've been explaining how vegetables work, how protein works, why protein is slow digesting, why you need whole foods. What is whole food? The closest to nature, like in its natural form, the closest to natural form. So if it's maize, if it's corn, if it's wheat, the grain of wheat, if it's millet, if it's, leaves, vegetables, and leafy greens like spinach and nightshade, managu. So you explain that the closest to that. So anything like if you grind it, then it should be coarse flour, not very refined like that flour we see in the supermarket whose name I can't mention, so I'm not sued. And then you talk to them and you show them how to turn that into a meal. So for instance, it's ugali, or matoke, or rice or chapati with your beans or your dal or your fish or chicken, and your vegetables, which is your cabbage. If you don't like it plain because you went to boarding school, with some grated carrot or some colored peppers, or hoho as we call them back home. And then you tell them with some skuma wiki or kale or chard, collard greens, like depending on what it is that they eat, depending on where they come from. And then you ask them to repeat back this information. And they are tired from queuing, and they're tired from caregiving, and they're tired from just being a woman. And then they repeat this information back to you, and they give you a menu, and then you ask them what other vegetables they think they have access to in the market, and they don't list one or two, they give you like four from their local market. They almost give you the prices of each. They tell you the days they have market days and why they'll start shopping on those days. Then they also tell you what proteins are locally available, what fish they find in the lake nearby, or the ocean nearby, or the market nearby. And if they're from a pastoralist community, they tell you it's meat, and you ask them how much they should take, and they show you the palm of their hand. And how much starch, they show you a fist. And then how much vegetables, they say at least half my plate. You know what? You've also said it may be difficult for me to start with half the plate. Let me start a little at a time. But you know what? I've noticed actually when I eat vegetables, my stomach somehow feels okay. But I also know I shouldn't combine it. There is no greater joy than to be the sort of coach who gets pictures of food like the ones I share on my status, on my WhatsApp status and other stati, like Insta stories, when people, mostly on WhatsApp, when patients from 2-3 years ago, clients from 2-3 years ago, are still writing back to say my sugars are still good. My sugars still dance between 6.5 and 7, on bad days 7. Do you know, like, they're actually diabetics, but their sugars, they never graduated to insulin as the doctor had predicted would happen. Their blood pressure has stopped dancing around 140. It's now come down. And even the doctor has told them that, oh, the medication I had reduced, we are keeping it at that low dose. You're just that introductory blood pressure type. We are giving you this blood pressure medication to protect you from a stroke. We are no longer giving you blood pressure medication to bring your blood pressure down from high up there. Of course, we are bringing it down, and that's why how we are protecting you from this stroke. People who tell me that they've noticed when they go for a walk, they sleep better and their blood pressure is improved and their immunity is better. They say they have more energy to play with their children. They have more energy to walk up the stairs. In fact, nowadays, they can't even think of using a lift anymore. People who show me their water bottles whenever we get on calls, and they're like, Sharon, I just wanted to show you I still have a hot water. I still have a water bottle. It's not the same one I had when we met 3-4 years ago, but I still drink water consistently. And I've noticed like this, my acne disappeared, my gut problems disappeared, the pain I used to have over here is gone. My doctors have been asking me what miracles I performed, and I have been sharing your number with them. And they're asking when you're coming back to Nairobi. When I tell you, I look at this country, this Germany, and I want to tell the healthcare practitioners here, if you gave us a chance, we would turn around. We would completely turn around your health outcomes. We would turn around your pregnancy outcomes. We, people of color, would reduce infant mortality. I know it's not high. We would reduce postpartum depression. That is high, because you guys don't have a support system here. I don't even know how women give birth in this country. The government literally has to give you a financial incentive, which is why Africans and Arabs are okay with giving birth here. Asians are good with giving birth here. Because when you come from a country where it's tough to give birth. It's expensive. And you come to a country where you're actually given, even if it's very little financial support. We who know how to stretch the little that we have. We who know that if I have this and I cook it and I eat it tonight, I'll use it for leftovers tomorrow. We who know how to live on 20 euros a week in this economy. When we are given a chance, we turn things around. I keep telling people, women are magic. Black women, brown women, you combine the knowledge I have and the experience I have with my with my circle, my breathwork coach, my meditation coach, that friend of mine who does physiotherapy with pregnant women, that other one who does chronic pain management. You put us together on a team, there's nothing we cannot accomplish, save bringing back the dead. I used to work at a certain, not work, I used to volunteer at a certain hospital uh, in music and therapy, Mater Hospital. And I was out of a job. We would go and sing, and we'd go from ward to ward. I met patients who are in chronic, when I say like the sort of pain where they can barely sit up, and you show up with your guitar and you sing one verse that they remember from the days when they traveled to, Italy or Spain or wherever, and you sing the song that they remember that you grew up hearing on radio, and you don't remember all the verses, but you remember the chorus, and you sing the song over and over, and suddenly this patient is seated up and they're like, music is healing, I feel better. I have seen people struggling to breathe in the ICU, and we start singing gospel songs, we start singing beautiful music. And I'm SDA by birth and culture, so I wake up and I get up, and like when I sing hymns, it transports me back to my childhood. It transports me to a very special time, a time when, before I saw the church the way I see it today, as quite damaged and quite damaging today. But before my innocence was taken away, I believed in this church. I believed in God. I believed in. And then there are these days when I literally remember this week, I was like, hey God, if you don't handle this one, if you're real, send a solution. If otherwise, if I wake up in the morning and I don't have a solution, we are done. I'm done asking you to help me. And then I get a call about a gig. And if there's anything that I have learned in this life of mine, and it's lessons are repeated until they're learned. I've been sat here asking myself, you've been trying to make Germany work for a while, and it's not working. And Canada hasn't happened yet. The US, you were hesitant because Trump is in power. And then now here you are thinking, well, if the femicide rates are so terribly high in Kenya, but there are still women that you know and love who are waking up to go about their lives in Kenya. And they're your friends, your former colleagues, people you went with to school. Are you then not buying into the idea of, I can't go back because Africa is not safe? Kenya is home. There's nothing you can say to me to make me think that I could ever retire in this country. You know what I think a mark of success would be for me? A job that allows me to travel a lot. Because home is where the heart is. My heart is at the coast of Kenya. It's not even in Nairobi anymore. Fine. Nairobi is my first love. Nairobi is the one you can't get over because they were your first kiss, and they were the one you really fell for when you believed in love before your heart was broken, and you're like, oh my goodness, I hate men. And like before all that, like when it was innocent, like my experience at Mater Hospital with music in therapy and the patients who felt better, and those ward rounds, which were not those humiliating ward rounds that I experienced in Kenyatta National Hospital, where the neurosurgeon looks and asks, so what team is this? And I say nutrition, because of course I had to be the first one to speak up. And he asks a question, why is this patient wasting? I'm like, could be several reasons. They're not able to tolerate the feeds they're receiving. They are, I don't remember what I said, but I remember the tolerating the feeds part. It could be, this could be an underlying blah, blah, blah. I think I stated 3 things. And he was like, okay. So he moved on to the next. Like, we nutritionists were treated like trash by everyone. So like doctors didn't take us seriously because we hadn't studied medicine. I did take a class in human anatomy and physiology, but we didn't do we didn't do psychology, psychiatry. We didn't do nursing. So nurses also looked at us like, so your work is to just come boss us around and tell us what to do. And in my time, nutritionists didn't feed patients or prepare their feeds, or the infusions. That was the work of the nurses. So like the nurses were doing all the heavy lifting. I have personally said in private and in public, in Kenya, if a hospital goes on strike, worry if the nurses are on strike. If the doctors are on strike, we'll be fine. If the nurses are on strike, patients will suffer. And I'm not saying doctors are not awesome. Please, we are not pitting healthcare against each other. We were pitted against each other. I remember our public health lecturers. Public health lecturers did not like us. The nutrition department. I didn't mind community resource management, but public health. The number of times a lecturer would call me aside and ask me, did I teach you this in class? And I'm like, excuse me, isn't the point that I answered the question correctly? Where did you get this? I'm like, there were no books in the library. Of course, I fought the urge to go like, my boyfriend abroad sent me ebooks, which are current. And I would rant to him and I'd be like, why the hell do these lecturers not like that I am sharing new knowledge? And of course, someone was like, Sharon, you're shining them. Like, you're trying to show your lecturer that you have more updated information than what they're teaching in class. What did you expect would happen? Which is the attitude I came with to school. Here, I was like, keep your head down, kiss ass, pass. Don't make too much noise. Don't move too suddenly, too quickly. And then I realized, wait, they want us to ask questions. They want us to challenge what we're doing in class. We are in groups. We are expected to give solutions, not to regurgitate. Why have you used that word a lot today? Word of the day, regurgitate. We are not expected to it's not just rote memorization here. So this is actually higher education. Now, before you come for me, remember, Chimamanda said, there's a danger to a single story. This whole idea of, Africa is this big dark behind, there's no technology, there are no roads, and we live on trees narration, nonsense. However, there are certain things that just are universal, like medical school is hell everywhere, because training in medical school is there's a lot of competition, there's a lot of bullying. And I'm seeing even like with the doctors I engage with, whether on social media or the ones I actually know practicing, people in healthcare, nursing and medicine, the way they describe the training, I'm glad I took nutrition, because hey, there are things I've had doctors say that happened to them during ward rounds. Between getting a ruler, your hand smacked with a ruler for giving the wrong answer, or doing something and getting into trouble during surgical rounds. Like, just may listen to doctors and I'm like, hey, are you seeing a therapist? How are you processing all this? When someone shows you who they are the first time, believe them. I'm tired because I've been getting rejection emails. And the final straw. So yesterday, the day before, I got a rejection email from a bakery. Stay with me. I'm a master's holder. I'm almost there, right? A vegan bakery. And you know what position I applied for? Dishwasher. I just wanted to wash dishes. I left out my master's from the CV to improve my chances. I indicated that I had done some work in, I forget what. Either way, I applied for this job. You know how CV editing works, right? Like if you're applying for a research assistant job, you edit your CV so that it reads research assistant. If you're applying for a what job? If you're applying for like a health coaching job, you edit your CV to highlight the health coaching that you've done in your private practice. I'm talking about my CV right now as I say these things. I'm not telling you what to do. Then if you're applying for a job in humanitarian work, you highlight the volunteer work that you've done in Kajiado and wherever else, Korokosho, Wapi. Even if it was the one time you went to Korokosho to give health education on managing cardiovascular conditions in a low income setting, that's what you do. Or in I don't like saying low. It's let's leave it at low. Because it's low for survival. It's the sort of income setting where out-of-pocket spending for healthcare services or goods, medication, or going to the hospital for an appointment is that cost is high. The fraction of what they make as a wage, usually it's not a salary, it's a wage, as a wage or a salary, is the percentage is high. That's usually an indication of risk for financial devastation when your out of pocket spending is high, like for healthcare. You know, when, because it's one of the arguments I've listened to people make, people who are on the ground, not people who write reports from faraway offices and have never known what it's like to actually work in these communities. People who are on the ground and have been on the ground in the communities themselves will tell you it's very unfair for us to have classes of poverty where we say this is the poverty line. If you live on less than, is it $3? I don't know what the rate is now, by the way. This is just me throwing a number around. If it's $3, less than $3 a day, and so then you, or let's work with $5 a day because that's roughly how much a number of wage earners are getting in Kenya to wash clothes, to do construction work. Hey, there are days you will not make that in selling wares on the streets. And usually, if it's fruits, it's vegetables, and then there's the risk of dealing with council officers, city council, or wherever, whichever other branch of the government is deciding to harass you, whether it's police or whoever. They're coming to ask you why you're selling on the streets when you've not paid, if it's taxes or not taxes, but whatever amount. They're usually asking for money. And then, so every time you have to pick up that bag or quickly pack away your things and run so that you're not caught, you're not picked up, so that you go pay a fine, which costs more than the money you've made, probably, or just is all the money you've made that day. Believe people when they show you who they are. The first time, Maya Angelou said, because this government in Kenya has been showing us its true face. And I remember telling people, so you're going to vote for someone who's been accused of crimes against humanity and has not just been accused, but has actually proven that he has committed these crimes. How has he proven? Witnesses have disappeared. Not just him, but even his bro, the president before this one. So we didn't believe what he showed us, we believed what he said. Ladies, does this sound familiar? How many of us have given these men a second, third, fourth, fifth chance, and so they've gotten to a place where they're like, you ain't going nowhere? And then when we tell them that we are done, they don't believe us because that's what you said 6 months ago, then 5 months ago, then 4 months ago, then 3 months ago, and they're like, she likes me too much. I totally understand this 4B movement. These women who are choosing not to have sex, not to get married, not to have children, just cutting off men. I forget what the other one is. But not but and I want to join this movement. In fact, I have decided that's it. I remember I looked for the lovers and I told them I'm done. I'm done. I'm done. I'm done with men, sex. The idea of marriage has never really taken that much space in my brain, because me, the marriages in my family are just some that have worked on a second try, but my mother is single and largely incredibly happy in her late 50s. So me, that's the life I want. To be able to go traveling around the world running marathons like my mother. Imagine that's the life I want. And I can already hear all the Christian women folding their hands and saying, but you'll be lonely. What's the trade-off? Because everything is a trade-off, right? I remember sharing a post about how in the next couple of years, hopefully, I'm actually saying hopefully, by 2030, about 45% of women will be single and child-free, unmarried and child-free. And I remember thinking it's about damn time. Like we've been saying we are tired, we've had it, but we really have now. When people show you who they are the first time, believe them, because like we nice people. There was a quotation. There was a quote. Not a quotation. Quotation is for money. It's because I think I'm thinking about money. I'm even scratching the sole of my foot, but yeah, it's the heel. It's not the same. If it were the palm, oh gosh, I'd be so excited that I'm about to get money, because that actually happens. My palm gets itchy, and then someone calls me and goes like, "Yo, that coaching session I wanted to do with you, boy, I pay for it now. Let me not wait for January, because I know I'm not going to be one of those people who's waiting for New Year resolutions in January. I'm not 32 anymore." It is interesting how people now say 32. Like, I'm not 20 anymore. I'm like, now they say I'm not in my early 30s. But anyway, my point here being, it's been a tough day. It's been a really tough day because the week has been long. Rejection emails have a way of just eating away at my confidence, because I know I am incredibly good. I'm like, so just hire me, you guys. Like, just give me a job. And if you don't give me a job, me, I'm going back to my home country with my big brain and my brilliant ideas, and I'm not sharing them with you. Hata sikuwa nakupea. Like, I'm so annoyed. And then, me, I look for someone to talk to. I'm like, oh, let me call this person and speak my heart. Because then when they have a big day or a bad day or a good day, or they tell me and I listen actively, I acknowledge them. If they're hating on someone, I'm like, malenge, yeah, such a silly pumpkin, how are they doing this? After the way, no, I take sides passionately with them, and they're like, and I'm like, but also, can I play devil's advocate? Do you think perhaps this could be done differently? Like, do you know how hurtful it is for you to hold space for someone, and then the day you need to talk, they are so dismissive? I remember this same person once telling me, ata your story yako inanibo. Like, I'm not even telling them a story. I am recounting to them my concern about someone. And my heart is heavy. And he's telling me I am boring him. So now I have this new habit. If I'm looking for the thing, a safe space to share, a safe space to just be myself and say, this is how I'm feeling and stuff like that. And then this person doesn't let me be myself, doesn't let me in. I will sit with the feeling. I'll ask myself, what is it about this person not listening to me hurt me? It feeds into this narrative. it feeds into this insecurity, it feeds into this fear. This is what the gremlins are telling me, this is what the voices in my head, not in the psychiatric type way, just so we are clear, because I remember the first time I said voices in my head to a doctor friend, and she was like, do you want to talk to someone? I was like, wait, when I said voices in my head, I meant imposter syndrome. I didn't mean I hear actual voices. But it's good to raise awareness. If you have voices in your head, do talk to someone about it. Not just anyone. Don't talk to the sorts of people who will pour holy water on you or tie you up and exercise you with ash and holy water and oil, anointing oil. Look for someone. Look for an actual professional. Look for a psychiatrist or a psychologist. And if it's too scary, just send me a comment, or look for me on social media, on wherever. I'm Start With Sharon everywhere, at Start With Sharon. Just send me a message. I will link you up with a good psychiatrist and psychologist. If you're a Black or brown person, I know a host of people that can help you. If you're a teenager, if you're an older person, just tell me. I will link you up with someone who will help you. I just thought I should say that. So when people show you who they are the first time, believe them. If you've loaned money to someone and they have never paid you back, and then they tell you, oh, something else has come back, let me tell you something I learned. Do not part with money that is more than the amount of a gift. If someone tells you, oh, it is bad, I am dying, the only amount of money you should part with, the fear of God leading you. Not the fear of what will they say, not the fear of the village will curse me, not the fear of, oh, but my mother taught me, not Christian guilt, please. The fear of God, the one who made you. If you believe in him, that is the only thing that should be leading you here. And do not fear like, oh my gosh, if I don't give, God will smite me. No, like reverence. You revere the God who says that when we give to the poor, we are loaning to him. And you're giving out of a place of generosity. Please don't give out of your rent money. Then you're just being stupid. Now, so the fear of God leading you. You give, for instance, when I got paid for my gig yesterday, first thing I did when I got to the train station, return my tithe, then send money for my kids' school fees, tell them this is what it's for, and then send money for some things that I need. This was not me before. My therapist has pointed out to me that I have a messiah complex. I really, 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 really need to learn to give myself as well. So this is the first time in a while that I'm getting paid for something, and I am prioritizing my child's things, because I had already taken care of the basics, but also I had taken care of myself. I had so much guilt buying an air fryer and a rice cooker, later a kettle as well. Things I need in this winter, with ADHD and forgetting to eat and my weight dropping to like 57.8 kilos. Look at me being completely vulnerable with you guys today. I decided, and by the way, since those wares got here, I've been eating regularly. Am I eating a lot more potatoes than you? Yes, and that it makes me happy. I'm eating potatoes, I'm eating my vegetables. Gosh, I even have ice cream in the freezer. I'm eating my plant protein, not so much, mostly chicken lately, because after my period I was like, where, let us replenish please, because at some point I'd stopped taking my iron supplements because they upset my stomach, they taste nasty, the dizziness had gone. I just needed a break. Also, I was around a lot of weed smoke. So the marijuana, not marijuana itself, but just smoke is not good. Free radicals, iron, higher risk for cancer. When people show you who they are the first time, believe them. Many people are quick to say blood is thicker than water. We don't know that the quote itself is, the blood of the covenant is thicker than the water of the womb. So what is the blood of the covenant? Chosen family, friendship, the pacts that you make with friends. The same way the Bible says, and there's one who sticks closer than a brother. I keep telling you Christians to read the Bible with nuance. I'm this kizzy. You don't listen to me just because I use spicy language from time to time. And I tell you that marriage is a curse. Your desire shall be for your husband, and he shall rule over you. That you people are still waiting with bated breath, not for the second coming of Christ, to wear a wedding gown. I have left you to this Jesus in the hands of the men who crucified him. The ones hiding in a room when Mary Magdalene was seeing the new savior because she had courage. And then you guys have the nerve to tell us, we women, you women are weak, you're the fair sex. I'm like, one verse, and you guys will not let us go. One on submission. You ignore the other ones before that talk about submit one to another. Wives, submit unto your husbands. And then you're telling me this and you're not even my boyfriend. What am I submitting to? Whomst? When people show you who they are the first time, believe them. I remember telling a friend of mine, probably yesterday, probably today, my days are loopy. Don't settle. I settled and I am paying for it. Because when Slumflower says this, and I absolutely love her, she's a dominatrix, and she says, all men benefit from the abuses that women suffer at the hands of men, whether it's financial abuse, sexual abuse, physical abuse, because it lowers the bar for men. So if you're the sort of man who changes a diaper, oh, you get praised. Everyone is clapping for you because we live in a world where men kill their lovers. Women at high risk of dying at the hands of a former or current lover, partner, romantic partner, etc. That person is a man. Today was a very triggering day because when I was reading up on the femicide march in Kenya yesterday, Nairobi, I'm seeing women marching down streets I have walked down. I'm seeing cops grabbing them. I'm literally watching the police grabbing these women and bumping into them and elbowing, choking them and throwing tear gas at them. And I'm asking myself, it's 2024. What has changed since the days of the rebellions, the Mau Mau rebellion or the Nandi resistance when we were fighting for our freedom? How is it the very police who are supposed to protect and serve are doing this to women? And you're there with your gold band. But are we surprised? And yet there was a wave of femicides that took place at the hands of the police that killed their partner and the children and then turned on themselves. And then that wave came and went. And then these are the same police officers, colleagues of those ones who are coming to grab women on the streets. And then we live in a world where this is very so triggering. Someone shared on Instagram that these are some of the, I'm trying to remember her name. I think I'll mention her handle. And she said, when we talk about, because there's Usikimye, Aline Migwi, and there's another organization where I think it's Femicide KE, Femicide Kenya, or Stop Femicide Kenya, I'll check. Or just to Google, please, because I don't want to go down that rabbit hole. I have cried. And this is why I was crying so hard today. Like, of course, I was crying before I even saw the locations. These are women who look like me. These are women who don't look like me. These are human beings. Then I see that a woman was brutalized violently. You couldn't recognize her. They had made this a mess. The whole thing. You couldn't recognize her. Where? In Awasi, around where my ex hails from. Do you know how triggering that is? It's one thing to read about the statistics of women dying at the hands of their lovers and ex-lovers. It's another thing to hear a woman and see the image of what's left on the ground. And the person who did that was a man with whom she had, I don't know, sort of relationship. Was he a shopkeeper? Was he a guy on a motorcycle who took her home? Was he a husband? But just a man who crossed paths with her somewhere. And that's what he did to another human being. So this is And then, like, it's so funny and not funny, haha, that I'll tell this to a Kenyan man who doesn't follow Kenyan news. And then he's like, calm down. You are in Germany. If you are not in a first world country, like, and then I get a notification from someone in the US who has shared an article that says one woman dies in Germany every day. From when the sun rose to when the sunset, today, a woman has died in Germany. Again, statistically, at the hands of someone she knows, a lover, a family member, an ex. And then people will tell you you're overreacting. And then people will tell you go back to where you came from when you complain about the stuff we suffer here. And then do you know what it's like to just wake up every day and to feel unsafe to exist in your own skin? To think that because you've had sexual relations with someone, they might feel so entitled to you when you choose to end things with them, they could kill you. Because in his mind, you're his something, his trophy, his property, his warm, sticky place to climax in. His. There has been a trending comeback to the line, my body, my choice, where women are fighting for the right to have. We are literally in 2024 fighting for autonomy over our bodies. Men are not told how to dress or what to do with their bodies. Politicians are debating what should happen with our bodies. Politicians, not doctors. Oh, wait, doctors as well. Have you heard of the husband stitch? You've just pushed a baby out, and there's a doctor who could decide to give you an extra stitch to tighten you so that your husband enjoys a nice, tight fit. In the year 2024, go look it up. Go look at the women who've shared the pain they have endured because of this husband. It's called a husband stitch. And there are men who recommend it. And there are doctors who tell men, I could give her an extra stitch. I'm not here to bash doctors. But the world we live in, so many of us women are just out here saying, Jesus, just come back and save us from these men. The men who killed you, just come and save us from them. Because it's the religious ones. It is the ones who are out here giving us HPV. It's the ones who are out here giving us gonorrhea and syphilis. Like it is, oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Where? Ogopa wanaume. Be very afraid of men. I have grown so fearful of men. I have decided to just, I've told them I can't relationship anymore. I don't want, leave me. Not doing men anymore. Closed shop. Because, and I'm not even laughing because this is funny. I literally am now terrified. I'm like, you're running away from the frying pan. You jump, you get into the fire. As my friend Dot says, must be nice to be a man. I will add, must be nice to us to be a cis-het white man. When people show you who they are, believe them. Women have come through for me. Now, have women let me down as well? Yes. But ironically, even when relationships with women are ending, when I look back, I'm like, gosh, but she taught me so much. She supported my business. I was there for her. She was there for me. There was symbiosis. I never feel like they took so much from me. They took the best years of my life. They took my youth. Every ended friendship, I can look back and say, I was better for it somehow. With the men, not so much. Ladies, Just start forming deep friendships, meaningful connections with women, like-minded women. What does that mean? Where do I find them? You love the gym, as I am intending to join. Go to the gym. Find women who love the gym. Say hi to her. Ask how she's using this. Okay, fine. Also, read the room. If she looks like she's just had a long day and she came to the gym to blow steam, just leave her alone, please. Don't be that guy either. Don't be that person. But if you sense, and we women were intuitive, just sense and see. If they look like they could talk to you, do you know how much fun I have been having with the women in my life? And it's a thing I've been doing lately. If I try and have a conversation with a man and he just tires me out, which is a lot lately. Like when I say a lot lately, I mean the few times I actually let these men talk to me or engage them. I think there's only one man left who doesn't exhaust me. It's because usually I'm the one talking at him. And we only see each other here, the corridor, when he's going to work, or I'm going to the kitchen, or I'm going to the bathroom. It's just easy. Everyone's life is, we only interact on a needs to basis. I had really missed singlehood. Miss me. Oh! When I hear women say, I am covenanting, I am going back to Jesus, I am not doing this with a man again. And by the way, if you want to do it again, hey, more power to you. But when I talk to these women who are like, too old to go through this again, life is too short, I just want to travel, I just want to raise my kids, I just want to make my money, I just want to build with my girlfriends. Do you know women are now building houses together? You think it's a lie? Stay tuned. We have decided we are raising children together, we are building houses together, and of course I can hear the people in the background, oh, but single moms are the reason why. I'm like, no, babe, no. Single moms are showing up. Don't blame them for the one who's absent. Ask the one who's absent why they're absent. I tell people motherhood has no off days. Primary parenting, there are no off days. From the day this child starts growing in your body, from when they become a clump of cells and they grow, they're literally stuck on you. I see my grandmother fuss over her children. She's in her late 70s. She got these kids in, I guess, at 20 or 90. I don't know. Even if it's at 18 to 78, that's 60 years of worrying about not the one, but the five. My former mother-in-law had 11. And then those children have children. And then with this economy, you're always worrying. Where are they getting jobs? Are they going to college? Will they? Jesus just needs to come back and take us home. We can't, I can't anymore. Hey, when people believe you, show you who they are, believe them. And I think the first person you need to be asking when you notice a certain pattern in your relationships is yourself. Like the first person you should start asking questions is yourself. Go like, what is it that, what part have I played in making people think they can treat me this way? If you're going to be completely honest with yourself, you're struggling somewhere with the boundaries. You're struggling somewhere with saying no. There's some people pleasing. And the first step towards recovery is what? Say it with me, class. Admitting that there's a problem to begin with. This is a whole 50-minute rant. Thank you, class, for staying with me and tolerating me. When someone shows you who they are the first time, believe them. You know the way Mary kept it in her heart when Jesus would do interesting things in his childhood. Keep it close. Forgive, do not forget. Don't be dumb. So that you're not the person who has given 12 chances to the same person who has harmed you 12 times. Okay? Think. Part of the transformation by the renewing of the mind is learning how to actually use your head to think and see, oh wait, this is a pattern. And that intuition, ladies, that we're being told, oh, you're crazy, your gut is off. Is it though? Is it? Peace to you.